Hi, I'm Callam Rodya.
I am Richard Barlow.
And this is Nicolas Barbeau.
And we'd like to welcome you to the first episode of Encore Studio, which is our new official Encore Theatre Company podcast. It's kind of cool. We're going to try and do these things as regularly as possible, but I don't want to make any promises on, we're going to do one every week or every 2 weeks because we just don't have that kind of time.
I'm a busy man.
Yeah. But I think, whenever the mood strikes us and we have something, half decent to talk about, we'll sit down and we'll do this. And it's cool. I think that when people have more insight into what goes into the creation of something, whether it's a piece of theater or a film or even a great song or even like something like a building, the more kind of background information you have on how it's created and the process and the work that goes into it, I think the higher your appreciation of whatever this work is. So that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to kind of offer some insights into our process of creating theater as a new company and that kind of thing. So welcome. We were going to do this last night, and we had some technical difficulties, but it was probably for the best because yesterday, unfortunately, we learned of the passing of one of our dear friends and colleagues, Ulrich Sikora, and it was a pretty sad day for everyone, especially those of us who particularly knew him well. So we're very saddened by this, and we'll be dedicating our next play script reading on December 10th called Encore Original Christmas. We'll be dedicating that to Ulrich's memory. So I hope you all can join us for that. So this is our first episode, and we have the cast of Down Dangerous Passes Road here, which is our first main stage show. And it's pretty important for us being our first main stage. This is our first real production as a new company. So it's very exciting for us. So why don't we just go around? We'll start with you, Nick. We'll go around and we'll say what our roles are and that kind of thing.
Okay, now I'm on the spot. This is Nick speaking, and I'm playing Carl, the youngest brother, which is weird being the middle of all of us.
Take creative license with our ages in this production, I think.
I guess so, yeah. I guess I could take some solace knowing that I could probably still go back to high school and fit in. But,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. My thoughts on this play basically is the second I saw it, well, by see it, I mean the script, read it. It's just you get a connection to it, and
there's a really good story of the origins of how we came to be producing this play. We're going to talk about that in a second, because it is a good story. But so Nick is playing Carl, the youngest. The youngest brother.
He is the youngest.
Richard, who are you playing?
I am playing Victor. I'm the oldest brother and the youngest of the cast
and of the company
and
too.
of the company. Yeah. I'm the baby, and I'm playing
Richard's still
oldest.
in school. It's wonderful.
Baby with the beard.
Yeah, the baby with the beard. I came out this way. Actually.
He's the only one in the cast who can really grow a good full beard. So
I would fight
you
that.
can
my beard.
you can.
But I can grow it in a week.
Yeah, exactly. It takes me months to just develop pubic hair on my face.
That's true.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I'm playing Ambrose, who is the middle child, and I'm also directing the production, which I don't recommend to anybody. Playing a lead role in a play and also directing it. Not that it's been a huge struggle, but it does. There are obstacles. For instance, not being able to watch the play while it's being rehearsed, because the three of us spend the entire... Richard comes on later in the play, but once we're on stage, we stay on stage. There are no exits. So it's tricky to direct it. And I was really strongly cautioned against it from basically everybody. But, if you have a strong enough desire to do something, you might as well do it, I guess. Plus, as the director, I can call a smoke break any time I want, and that's amazing. I love having that power.
Pretty magical.
But also, we have an associate director, Jenny Hazelton, who has kind of been serving as our eyes in the audience so far, and she's been very, very helpful in that capacity. And we're also partnering with the Theatre Cambrian Technical program. I think I said that right.
Theatre Cambrian? I wouldn't say the people we're with, but...
Did I say Theatre Cambrian?
You said Theatre Cambrian.
Cambrian College
There
Technical
we go, yeah.
Theatre Program is what I meant to say. I'm sorry, Ken, if
Yes.
you're listening to this. I promise it will be correct on the poster. And so that's great. So we have Ken Sala designing the lights and Robert Ivy doing the set. And we have Shannon Hipson, our stage manager, who's from Cambrian and has been doing an excellent job so far.
Pretty hip.
And then just rounding off the company, we have Jocelyn Dada, who is our producer, and Jackie Miller, who is our dramaturg. And I've never worked with a dramaturg before. I don't think you guys have either.
I never have. First for me.
It's an interesting... I don't want to get too much into it, but it's an interesting... It's like kind of the dramaturg's job to kind of give you background information on the play and kind of dig out some details that you might otherwise overlook. So it's really cool because we're doing an English translation of a French play to have her as dramaturg, because she has the French translation on one side and then the English, or the French version, the original version, and then the English translation on the other side. And so she can offer us kind of the direct translation more than the kind of artistic translation. So it's cool having that. Yeah, let's talk a bit about how we came to be producing this play, because it is not a well-known play. Anybody I mention it to, with very few exceptions, is like, oh, that sounds cool.
That's
Who's
cool,
wait,
man.
what passes something? But it is a Quebec play. It's written by Michel-Marc Bouchard, who's quite a prominent Quebecois playwright, and I guess it was first introduced to Nick and I last year in our third-year acting class by a man named Lauren Pardee, who was the former artistic director of the great Canadian theatre company in Ottawa, GCTC. I always have to kind of dissect that acronym in my head.
That one.
I don't know. You want to tell the story? You want me to keep telling the story?
Just keep going.
All right.
You've got it rolling. You
Yeah.
actually introduced to just you first, and I didn't even see
Yeah,
the connection
that's right.
until afterwards. But
Yeah, that's right. So we had a workshop from Lorne. He was in town doing a production here at Thornlow at the Ernie Checkers Theatre with our professor, Patricia Tedford. And so she brought him in for a workshop, and we were doing some scene work. And one of the scenes, the scene that I got, was from this play called Down Dangerous Passes Road. And I'd never heard of the play, never even heard of Monsieur Bouchard, which I feel bad about in retrospect now. But I literally read 3 lines of it and I fell in love with it. And it's just kind of one of those plays where the text just jumps out at you and you can immediately identify with the character. And then I used it as also later in the year for some monologues, just working in class, and it was one of those plays that I had a lot of kind of acting breakthroughs in class using this material, and so for me, I have a very personal connection to it because of that. But it was really Nick who kind of set this whole thing off. Nick,
yeah.
Isn't that right?
Well, I like to brag a little bit about that. Yeah, I like to say that, but no, yeah, kind of same story. I got it in class, and we got it in class, and I decided I was gonna dive really deep into this. I wanted to do some of my best work when I got this, and I had to work a scene in class, and we worked through it. And I was actually the monologue that Cal did. I was actually Ambrose. I wasn't Carl or Victor. And,
Did it much better than I ever did.
Of course. It's just how I roll. Yeah.
Modest.
Very modest.
Modesty comes with the territory as an actor, right?
I tried to... We did the scene, we got through it, and then after reading the full script, it's just an instant connection for me. Everything about the script itself, not even just one of the characters, but all of the characters, they have a way of just finding their way into your head. It's not like you can hate one or the other or not hate one or the other. You have both. It's just a fun play for me to want to be a part of. And I knew these 2 guys, and so I asked them, I said, what do you think about doing this play next year? Well, I didn't say next year. I said, what do you think about doing this play right now? And I've had to wait a year. But
we had to kind of think about that and say, well, we're kind of committed to doing this other play, and then probably another one after that, and another one after that. But
it was actually a funny story that I went up to Cal and said, what do you think about doing this play if we get Richard to do it? And he almost finished my sentence before I even said Richard.
Yeah.
But he had this little pondering look on his mind, or in his face, not his mind, but he said, I got a better idea. Hold off on it for a couple days. And he came back to me, and Encore Theater was an idea. So,
yeah. I kind of had the idea of creating a company in my back pocket for a long time, and I guess I was kind of waiting for the right moment for it to all kind of come together, and with this production and the idea that Nick had, and then bringing Richard on board, and the people around us that I always want to be working with, it all just kind of came together in that moment. And so so the point is, this play is really the kind of the catalyst that set Encore in motion. And so it's got a lot of symbolic whatever the hell. So we've started rehearsing. We're just about finished our second week now. The entire show is blocked, which is great. It's amazing to be able to do that really quickly, because then you can spend the rest of the time. We don't open for another 6 weeks or 7 weeks, something like that. We got a lot of time. Sometime in January. Maybe we'll drop those dates at the end of this thing. But I mean, it gives us all this time now to work the text and to really delve deeper into the material itself without having to worry about where we're standing and where we're moving to and blah blah blah. So why don't we just talk about our processes a little bit in terms of approaching this material? So, Richard, you haven't had a lot of audio time yet, so why don't you jump in and talk a little bit about how you prepare for any role, not just this role, but
well, like you guys said, we got this script like a while ago.
Yeah,
you guys had
I think we had our first
start.
Official reading in like July or June.
Yeah.
We were a little eager, I'm gonna
Yeah. Well, because at that point we hadn't locked down our show dates yet, so we were thinking like we might be running this in October.
That's true.
So we better get a start on it now.
Yeah. Well, you had a huge rolling start. You did it in class. You knew the script, and I really only for the first time saw it in the summer. So I read it over a few times and loved the character. And this, obviously not the situation, but this character is pretty close-ish to me. So, it was one of those things where I didn't have to really go out of my way to find the character. So it's just I was reading it and relating to things and stuff like that. And that's what I try to do with any character. And then the school year started. And, being the company member still in school, it was like I kept reading it and thinking about it as much as I could. But, I was also doing the school production and doing all this
Richard
stuff.
just finished doing Head of Gabler. I don't know if you saw it. If you did, awesome.
Good for you.
If you didn't, well, you should come out to the theater. Come on.
Like January 13th.
If you didn't see it, then why are you you're clearly not that interested in theater. Why are you listening to this? But yeah, so I was really busy, but it was always there, and I've been constantly thinking about it since I've got it. And now my process is, I don't really know what my process is. I'm coming out now that we're gotten the blocking so quick. I love that. I like getting it done quick because blocking is always,
really
when you take a long
tedious,
time, it really takes you out of what you can be doing.
I feel sorry for people. I mean, I used to do musicals in high school, so I've been exposed to it, but like people who do nothing but musicals and have to choreograph 25 people on stage always, it's like, just blow my head up.
Yeah.
So we won't be doing Rent.
Yeah, we will not be doing Rent or Spring Awakening anytime soon. I think we've already got that covered in this town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll leave it to the people who are good at it.
Yeah. So now I'm just focusing on dissecting the character as much as it is similar to me. He's much older and he's gone through so much more than I have.
Yeah, he's had a bunch of wives and stuff.
Yeah, he's had some wives. I've had some girlfriends here and there. But not the same thing, really.
But
Well,
Richard
they took
does
my money and my stuff. So.
Richard does bring up a good point, though, which is that, I mean, the casting just kind of fell together perfectly for this play, because we are all very similar in many ways, you know, whether they're, you know, the obvious surface level stuff or they are the kind of deeper internal things. You know, Richard is very much a kind of country boy in a way. Loves his trucks.
Oh, I've been to Myrtle with him. He's just in
that's
a way.
right. These guys took a trip to Myrtle Beach. And
once we get into Radio Range where they're playing country music, that's all we're listening
to.
I love my country.
And Nick, you know, grew up, well, not all, but grew up a lot of his childhood took place in the valley, in what I call the suburbs of Sudbury, and I make fun of him for it all the time. But and Carl is really the suburbanite, you know, the house, the car, the wife, the mortgage, the kids, not yet, the trampoline in the backyard, the white picket fence. Yeah,
I had a trampoline in my backyard.
Right? Like this is what I'm saying. It's perfect. And you know, I'm the pretentious, snobby, asshole fucking prick who loves the city, who loves the city and hates everybody who's not creative. So Ambrose is me. Minus the homosexuality.
So yeah, it was all kind of perfect. It was, you can't, I don't know. You couldn't get a more perfect show for us three.
I agree with that.
And so it's actually really convenient in the way that there's a lot of work that you have to do on other shows that is kind of almost taken care of here because we're there. You know, like when I just did Head of Gabler and I was Judge Brack, that's nothing like me. So there was a lot of just
you're
sitting
not
down.
1800s.
I'm not a
kind of
an
rapist
old,
judge.
An old rapist judge in the 18th century. Despite
I don't know
what
you
many
at all,
people
Richard.
think.
Shocked me so many times. But today,
I know, but yeah. So there's so much here that, you know, there's obviously still work, but since it is very familiar to us, it makes it a lot easier. We can focus on the story and on stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of nice because you get such a close connection to your character already, rather than having to find yourself in the character and all that stuff. Since it's a lot closer to the heart, you have a lot more time to try to work off each other, which is really neat. It's nice because, I mean, you know, over this past year especially, I'd say even the three of us have gotten a lot closer than we ever were before.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it's to the point where we even call each other brother and all that stuff. And, you know, when you're acting on stage, it's not as much of a pull to imagine these things if you have to, or just, you know, find those moments with these people rather than find your real brother or your real sister and find out how it feels like that. It's just like, no, this is my...
The connection's already there. Like, we've already got the strong brotherly kind of connection already in life.
Yeah, it's just there, so it's more like...
It's pretty easy to transplant that on the stage.
Don't have to superimpose someone in my family onto you guys. It's you guys.
Yeah. You're not my, I don't know, Uncle Tim.
Yeah.
I'm not. That's...
Although you kind of act like him in this play. He likes to... Never mind.
Uncle Tim, he likes his pickup trucks.
He likes his trucks. He does. And he's a cowboy. You know, I think this also raises a good point where, I find like being in drama school, being in theater school, you play a huge range of roles, which is great because you get to experience, investing in different kinds of personalities and different ages and all that kind of stuff. But when you get out of theater school, you realize that you generally play the roles that you're suited for as opposed to the roles that you necessarily want to play or think you want to play or think you could play. So, you know, I would never be playing a 16-year-old on Degrassi because I just don't look like it. Exactly, that's Nick's department.
It's all you,
but for this play, it's not, I mean, we are cast quite appropriately, I think. All three of us look our parts and kind of act our parts, and that's important because that's actually what happens when you get out into the real world and start acting professionally. And it is refreshing to not have to kind of rework yourself into what you think this character who is nothing like you should be like.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So what about you, Nick?
Well, kind of like I was saying. For me, I just, I haven't had a bedtime story since I was, 3, but I got one now. It's just since I've got
I like
the thing.
that.
It's It's been with me. Whether, there's a couple nights here or there where I don't bring it with me, but, there's a moment every day where
He's talking about his script,
Yes.
if you're wondering. He's not talking about like his blankie or his crack
He brings
pipe.
that too, though.
I bring that too, but yeah.
Not necessarily in that order.
But yeah, this script, I got a little bit of shit from our dramaturg at the quality shape that my script is in, and I had to explain to her that this script has gone with me to work, it's gone with me to golf a couple
That's
times.
right.
It's gone with me everywhere. It's just since I've got this script and since I've been told that we're going to get to do this, and I've been waiting patiently for a year to do it. It's just let's go. I want to do it, and so you just
There's a
try to
huge
find
level of
every
excitement
moment.
around it for us, which is great.
It is, yeah. And, I also just think for the process-wise, I've been, you have a lot of time to find yourself in this character, and I really like the time now that we get to work with each other, because this is where I find you get your best work, because you can find yourself all you want in it, but you really, really find who the story is talking about when you're with everybody else, because, it's hard to react about how Ambrose might say something to Carl unless you see Ambrose saying it to Carl. Until you find how Ambrose feels about the subject, you don't know how you feel about the subject. So it's my process has been mostly find out what I want out of this and go for
In
it.
terms of within the script.
Within the script,
Yeah, within the
exactly,
scenes, yeah.
Find out what I want. Why does Carl exist? What's his point? Get him, and then if I get him, whatever happens with us is going to be what happens. And I think that's been my process throughout this is, be as true to the character that I can find in him. And if the people around me are as true to their character, it's going to be
a great show.
It's going to be what happens. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, I really, really like this material because, I mean, there are moments where the dialogue is kind of stylized. Without giving too much away, there are elements of the metaphysical happening on stage at some points which do kind of create this stylized text. But most of the time, it's very straightforward dialogue. And I think, theater has gone through so many different styles over its history, which is a very, very long history. But it's easy for the theater to get kind of stylized and stagey and big and theatrical. And I like this play because it is quite grounded already. Like, just the text alone is really nice and grounded. So it's not a huge stretch for actors, and it doesn't take them out of naturalism. And I like that about this play. I really like playing that naturalism and playing real, truthful characters as opposed to caricatures or stuff like that. So we're performing here at the Ernie Checkers Theater, where we are right now, and it's really nice too because we just got these new wings, these new drapes, fabrics for the wings. We call them legs, and the Traveler, which is the black curtain at the back. And this place is really starting to look good. And I just learned today that starting December 9th, December 19th, the chairs, the brand new chairs come in.
I didn't even know.
Yeah,
This is new
so we will be the
gonna-
first
I'm
production.
gonna just sleep on one, and,
Yep,
and yeah.
Encore will be is lucky enough to be the first production. Down Dangerous will be the first production with the newly renovated theater. So
blue
if you didn't have already enough incentive to come see this show, now you do. Because
Just
now
come and sit.
chairs-
Everybody likes a new chair.
the chairs won't be breaking every time you sit on them, and those stupid fold-out desks won't be falling on your foot or on the person in front of you's head.
At least we hope. I mean,
I find that happens every time I'm performing in here. At least once during every show, you always hear one of those stupid desks fall.
desk fall,
It's
yeah.
like,
Or
It's a
like
tree
the
branch.
seat will kind of snap, and you'll hear someone.
whoa, yeah,
Whoa, hey.
I've heard that too. Oh my God, it's pretty good. So the play takes place on, as the title would suggest, on Dangerous Passes Road. And so our set design is pretty straightforward. It's a country road in the middle of nowhere. So we're kind of transforming this space into a bit of a wildernessy area. It's an old fishing spot that these that these grown men who are brothers go back to. And there was an incident at this place, at this fishing spot, which we won't get into now, that has kind of divided them in a way. And they've all kind of become estranged, and now are coming together because Carl is getting married, and that's what brings these three brothers, back together again on this particular day. And it's a great play about family, about relationships, brothers especially, but not just brothers, friendship, conflicting lifestyles. I mean, there's a lot of themes in this play that I think really resonate with people. So yeah, our show dates are January 13th to the 15th. That's our opening weekend, and then our second weekend is the 17th to the 21st. No, that's not right.
It would be
The
7 days later. So
19th to the 21st.
Yeah.
Okay, regardless, the show runs January 13th to the 21st, not every day, but so you can visit our website, www.encoretheater.ca. Theater is R-E, not E-R, and to find out all the details about it. Or talk to us, because we're always around, and we like to talk about our work and stuff, which is why we're doing this thing.
But go to the website too, because it looks awesome.
Looks pretty good.
Go to the website and go to our Facebook.
You can find us on Facebook. Just search Encore Theater Company or Encore Theater.
Sometimes
and on
we
Twitter.
tweet things.
Yeah, on Twitter we're at Encore Theater Co. And so now the Encore Studio podcast that we're going to be doing, you might be listening to this on YouTube because we're going to put it up there. You might have gotten it in an email or something, but if you want to actually download the MP3 of it, you can visit our website. Just go to encoretheater.ca/studio or /studio, I guess it would be. And that's where we're going to throw them all up. I had to be specific.
I know. No, I just like.
I was trying to think of all the different ways I can send them to our website.
I just like the fact that they could download it because I might be on somebody's MP3 player walking down the street.
Well, it's a
with them.
podcast. You need it on your iPod.
I know, but it's
There
kind
you
of
go.
funny.
It's kind of gnarly, eh?
I know.
Okay, so I'd like to also give a big thanks to Bryce Blais, who lent us a wonderful little mixer that we're using here, and to Jenny Hazelton, who lent us some of her equipment from the booth to do this. And I'd like to thank Nick and Richard for sharing themselves with you.
Anytime, man.
Anytime, bro.
That's what I do, bro.
All right.
Bro.
So I think we'll wrap this up, and thank you for listening. And
Thank you.
we hope you continue to follow us on our journey towards the opening of this production. And
Wait,
don't
not yet.
miss Encore Original Christmas
Yeah, we're still
on
doing some
December 10th, which is next week. Richard
Yeah.
has written a piece. I have written a piece for it. It's
My directing debut.
That's
that
right.
is.
Yeah, this is a big deal for Richard.
Yeah.
But and just to remind everybody that it is a dedication for the late Ulrich Sikora. So we hope you join us for that. Okay, thank you very much for listening, and we'll talk to you later.
See ya.